The Witcher 3 is a good game. Not a masterpiece, not even great, just good. Yeah, I know, that's probably a horrendous take. The Witcher 3 is one of the most beloved RPGs ever made, and people talk about it like it's the GOAT. I just don't feel the same way. But I do have my reasons, and maybe by the end of this video, you'll at least understand where I'm coming from. For some background, I put about 25 hours into it, completed the entire Bloody Baron questline, including Return to Crookback Bog, and finished a number of side quests. I've also been playing on Death March difficulty to make it a little more challenging. Now I fully understand that I haven't seen everything the game has to offer. 25 hours isn't enough to experience every aspect of a massive RPG, but I do think it's enough time to form an opinion. Let me start with what Witcher 3 does well. First, the dialogue is phenomenal. I can't take anything away from that. It's some of the best I've ever seen in any video game. You can tell an incredible amount of care went into the writing. Nearly every character feels like a real person with their own motivations, history, and personality. Even random NPCs have more character writing than major characters in other games. The writing also does an excellent job of building the world. Instead of dumping lore on you, it lets the setting reveal itself naturally through conversations, quests, and everyday interactions. Speaking of quests, they're another major strength. The Witcher 3 excels at making your actions feel meaningful. Quests often leave visible marks on the world, and it's satisfying to return later and see the consequences of your decisions. The game makes you feel like an agent of change without making the entire world revolve around you. And then there are the visuals. Even over a decade later, this game can be stunning. The environments are packed with detail, and there were plenty of moments where I found myself stopping just to take in the scenery. There is a level of craftsmanship here that's hard to replicate. Overall, everything The Witcher 3 does well, it does exceptionally well. But at the end of the day, it isn't a movie. Dialogue matters, but it isn't everything. Visuals matter, but it isn't everything. At the end of the day, The Witcher 3 is a video game, and for me, a good game needs good gameplay. Unfortunately, I think gameplay is The Witcher 3's biggest weakness. Now, I don't want to sound overly reductive, but the gameplay is kind of mid. The non-combat gameplay is a very large offender. A huge portion of the game consists of talking to someone, activating Witcher senses, following a trail, finding some clue, and then talking to someone else. And you just repeat that over and over again. At first it's interesting, but after the 20th time, it starts to feel a little repetitive. Witcher senses are used so frequently that they stop feeling like a unique tool and start feeling a little like a mandatory checklist item before the next dialogue scene. Now talking about the combat, honestly, it's fine, and that's kind of the problem. Most encounters can be solved with some of the variation of fast attack, sidestep, and Quen over and over and over and over and over again. Even on Death March, I rarely felt challenged in a way that forced me to rethink my approach at all. Some enemies do have interesting mechanics and attack patterns, but that's exactly the issue. The combat often relies on enemies being interesting rather than Geralt being interesting to play. The combat isn't bad, it's functional and it does work, I just wish it did more. And I don't particularly find it engaging. And then there's the main story. This one is a little more subjective, but to me, it feels bloated. The central goal for much of the game is finding Ciri, and I looked it up because, of course, I haven't played through the entire game, but it seems that a main story-focused playthrough still takes about 40 hours to find Ciri. Maybe that's perfect for some people, but for me, 40 hours is a very, very long time to spend playing what often feels like an elaborate game of hide and seek. But where does that leave me? To me, The Witcher 3 has incredible writing, memorable characters, meaningful quests, and a beautiful realized world. In many ways, it's a very impressive RPG. But when I sit down to play a game, gameplay matters more to me than almost anything else. And despite all of its strengths, I never found the moment-to-moment gameplay compelling enough to elevate it beyond just good. So that's my take. Feel free to tell me why I'm wrong in the comments. I'm sure many of you will.